Welcome to Pathways to Greatness, where we explore the journeys of exceptional individuals who have achieved remarkable success in their fields. Whether you're an aspiring athlete, a business leader, or simply someone striving to reach your full potential, this podcast is your guide to unlocking the greatness within you. Join us as we dive into inspiring stories, practical strategies, and the mindset shifts that can transform your path to greatness. Let's embark on this journey together. Unleash your potential with Concrete Consulting. Are you a student athlete striving for greatness? Do you want to enhance your mental performance and elevate your game? At Concrete, we specialize in mental performance and success coaching tailored for student athletes, parents, and coaches. Our expert coaches provide personalized strategies to boost confidence, improve focus, and achieve your goals both on and off the field. Don't just play the game, conquer it. Visit concreteconsulting.com and schedule your free consultation today. Take the first step towards success. Hey, welcome to the Pathways to Greatness podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Forrester, and I want to say Happy New Year. So this is the first episode of 2025, and what a year we have in front of us and a year that we have behind us. Just like we say every year, just excited about what this new year has. And today's episode is a special one. This one I invited Shawn French on, who has become a good friend over the last few years. And he's a dad, a husband, a father. I already said dad, a dad, a husband, a friend. And then he also has an amazing podcast called The Determined Society that he is the host of and the founder. And he had made a post on Instagram about comparison. And I'd already put together this outline about having an episode on comparison as my first episode of 2025. And I thought, you know what? It'd be a lot better to have him on as well. And so it worked out absolutely perfect from a scheduling perspective. I literally hit him up and it was the day before today. So when you're listening to this, he had less than 24 hours notice that we were going to do this, and he was willing and able. So it was great. So today's episode really is, have you ever thought that and felt like you're not good enough because you're comparing yourself to other people? I'm raising my hand for those that are listening, for those that are watching. In today's episode, we're really diving in. I can't even talk. We're diving into comparison, and we're going to talk about practical strategies. We're going to talk about tactics. We're going to talk about just real world examples of where we've failed in comparison, and then also where we can move forward and how we can overcome this terrible trap that we have. And then what's also great about today's episode that I enjoy is pulling in scripture that goes through each of these points to tie things back to why you need to ground yourself in scripture, why you need to, when you're facing a challenge in life and you're looking for a solution, go to the Bible. It's the only resource that you can depend on of being truth and being wise. There's plenty of books, podcasts that all share real good practical knowledge and practical advice, none better than the Bible. So we tag in Bible verses throughout this episode. So without further ado, comparison, is it a trap? Yes, it is. And my special guest today is Shawn French. All right, Shawn, you're back. And I really appreciate this. I reached out yesterday because you had made a post on Instagram about comparison. And was it yesterday or day before? Anyways,
I think it was yesterday.
Yeah. And so I saw the comparison, and oddly enough, when this episode comes out, this will be the first episode of 2025. I had already started to plan a conversation with myself about comparison. And when you posted that, I was like, all right, I need to have somebody else on there to have a conversation about comparison so we can compare how we view comparison.
I love it, dude. And first of all, thank you for having me back. It's an honor. And, when you asked me, even though it was short notice, man, it was you. So it was done, bro. It was done.
Yeah. Well, so I appreciate it. I know it's tough. Family life, professional life. We're coming upon the holidays, all that stuff. So thank you for fitting us in. And this is one for the audience is going to be, I hope it sets the tone, the positive tone for 2025 for you. And why this one's so important to me is I've struggled my entire life with comparison, and I would beg to think that most people, if there was one thing that they struggle with the most, it's got to be comparison. Where does comparison stack for you?
I mean, I think it's at the root of everything, right? And I think that when you're beginning something new, right? When you're just getting started, you do tend to look for that person that is above you or you can aspire to. But what happens is when you're starting to get in it, you're looking, instead of having that tunnel vision of working on and being the best you're looking at everybody else and what they have, right? And then your plate's getting cold. And then depression starts to settle in, right? And so I think comparison for me, man, I mean, it comes and goes. And I have to remind myself, like, look, that person may be on chapter 55,000, and I'm here on 12,000, right? And so I think it's important for the audience to understand that everybody goes through comparison syndrome. Everybody looks at somebody, wants something more. Wow, they're doing better than me, but they don't know what happens behind closed doors. And here's the example I'll give you. You can look at all these individuals that may have, the best podcasts in the world. Maybe they're CEOs of a massive corporation. They got all the money. You think they have it all together, but they may have a disrupted family situation. They may have children that don't look up to them. They may have children that don't get excited for them to walk through the door. They may have a wife that's constantly on them because he's traveling all the time and not there for the family. And so we don't know these things. So what I've tried to focus on is like get away from the actual result and just, start to really focus on do what I can do, but then also be so blessed because I have a family that's just itching for me to walk through the door.
Right. And for every position, just like you said, and you said it very well, every position we're in, somebody else wants to be where we're at. So that helps me contextualize it a little bit. It doesn't always help me and it doesn't give me peace because I'm sitting there thinking, why in the world would somebody want to be where I'm at? But it's true. Somebody wishes they could do the things that I'm doing that I'm complaining about doing. So it does bring a good perspective.
It's wild, man. And that's the other part of it too, right? Is looking at, dude, somebody's right now wanting, and I say, I don't mean it literally, but wanting to be me, wanting what I have right now, right? Wanting the results that I have right now. And I'm sitting here like Ed Milet says, I'm blissfully dissatisfied. Like I'm excited about where I'm at, but like I can't stay here too long, right? We always got to sit there and find a way that we can push forward to get more progress. But I also think it's important for me, for you and the audience to really listen to this next point. Celebrate where you're at. Because the you a year ago would love to be where you're at right now.
Yep. It's true.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. And I was listening to another podcast this morning and the gentleman was talking about athletes, and you can 100% relate to this, is you're never strong enough. You're never fast enough. You're never at that point where you shouldn't be working on some element of your game. And that's just life. We should never be satisfied. Be happy and present where your feet are, but look of how can I be better tomorrow? Because without that, then you're just going backwards.
Well, you decay, right? If something doesn't work, you go into the atrophy thing. If you don't work a muscle, then it deteriorates and you don't have it anymore, right? It's the same thing with progress. Just because we're in a good spot and we're grateful for where we're at doesn't mean we have to be satisfied. Those are two different things, and then the neglect of working it. I mean, that just puts you in a completely bad situation, potentially not right away, but you look down the road 6 to 8 to 9 months later and you're like, oh boy, I really fumbled that one there because now I'm in this situation. Had I been still progressing, I wouldn't be having this issue right now.
Yeah. So in preparation for this conversation, I put together some thoughts and I correlated the thoughts with Bible verses. So what I'll do is originally, since it was just going to be me, I was going to share the point, give my 2 cents. What I'd like to do today is share the point, get your 2 cents. I'll add in whatever I have to add. And then we'll layer in what the Bible has to say about it. Because for me, and I know that you're similar, is that's the root of what drives me. And it's the root of where I go to specifically when I'm struggling. So the first question is, why is comparison dangerous? So the quote is from Theodore Roosevelt. We've all heard this, is comparison is the thief of joy. So why, Shawn, do you think that comparison is dangerous?
Because it puts you in a lack of gratitude. I mean, it really truly does. When you look at somebody or to the side of you, like, let's go easy. This is an easy one. You go to the gym, you're excited because you're in the gym, and you should. It's a win. Every day you get out the door and you go work your body, it's a win. But you get in there and you look around at all that dude's stronger. Or he's lifting this weights, or he looks like this. He looks like that. And then you go back and you're in the mirror and you start looking at all the things that are wrong with you. Because by looking at somebody else and saying, I want to be that person, or man, look it, you're taking the power away from yourself. And what you're subliminally telling yourself is you ain't good enough. You're not good enough. And so you look in the mirror and you tear yourself down, and then you walk through the door, and then you don't eat what you're supposed to. You don't nourish your body. You don't rest. That's the danger, man. That, to me, that is where everything spirals out of control.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. And then you stop keeping promises that you made for yourself. You're like, see, I can't do it anyways. Or what's the point of being here because I don't look like that? And, I remember growing up, I loved watching wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember Nikita Koloff. This dude was just like, I mean, the Koloffs were just these Russians that were just built like Goldberg and these guys. And I remember one time that I went to bed and I prayed, can I wake up and look like him?
Wow.
And I'll never forget this. I was probably 12 or 13 and I was a fat kid because I ate a lot. So, and I was predisposed to that, physically, is if I ate a lot, I would gain weight. And there's some kids that could just eat a ton and never got big. But I remember that, and that's always stuck with me, is that you can pray for something, but it's unrealistic to think. Now, I believe that God has the power that he could have immediately, I woke up and looked like that. But how does that benefit me at all to say I want to be like that? And so for me, is digging in deeper, is that came from exactly what you shared, is I wasn't good enough. That was the answer to all of my problems, when that would have just been the beginning of more problems that would have happened. So it definitely steals joy, because then I was miserable because I never looked like that. And I never put the work in to even get close to looking like that.
Yeah. And that's the thing too, Jeff. It's like, we want to skip to the end, and we say this, there's a lot of cliches. It's about who you become in the journey. And it's true though. The lessons that you learn every single day and how you grow as a person. Look, the last 3 weeks I've been on my journey again. I'm more locked in now than I have been since college. Since I was playing baseball at LSU. This is the first time I've been this locked into my nutrition, my workouts. I'm down, dude. I started at 225. I weighed in this morning at 209. And I'm only on, week 3, right? So what I'm enjoying about that is not what's on the scale. It's who I'm becoming. I'm becoming unshakable. I have zero negotiation right now. Zero. Saturdays are my rest days. That's it. Period. End of story. Sunday through Friday, I'm going hard. And it's funny because like last night, my wife goes, hey, I think you should take tomorrow off. You're really tired. And, I don't think you should go into the gym. And I just looked at her. I'm like, it's Friday. Like my off day is Saturday. And she goes, well, I go, I love you. The answer is no. Right. And the problem is, not the problem, right? Well, maybe the problem is like, they're not used to this new discipline, Shawn. Right. So it's taken them a while. But my point is, it's about who I'm becoming. I'm becoming very disciplined, and it's showing up in my show. It's showing up in everything that I do now. Right. So it's not the, hey, can I wake up in the morning and look like this wrestler? You would have cheated yourself out of massive emotional and emotional growth.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what it's about.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, and you think about like in your healthy journey, we'll call it a healthy journey, not a weight loss journey, is that, the first part of the process of losing weight, that's when everybody's excited, because it's easy to drop that first 15, 20 pounds. Now, when it gets tough is when you have that targeted weight number and all of a sudden you go up 2 pounds. You're like, wait a minute, I've done everything the same, but my body's reacting differently. if you don't have the mental fortitude to understand and be able to push through those days that you're building at the beginning, then that could completely derail you, because it does it all the time for people. I don't know if you
Yeah.
remember the show Biggest Loser. Like
Oh,
how
of
many
course I do.
how many of
That's a
those
good show.
people went through it, and they all had mental challenges and struggles that got them to where they were at. But I think the vast majority, probably 95% of all of them that lost 200 plus pounds, gained it all back because they didn't have the discipline and the consistency to be disciplined to stick with it and change their lifestyle. They just did it
Yeah.
as a competition.
It's funny because like it's all about support, right, Jeff? Like who do you have supporting you? And I mean, along with that, like, I've tried many virtual programs. Didn't work for me. Didn't work for me because there's no in-person accountability. My buddy Jeff Delaney owns 2 clinics, a test clinic and a weight loss clinic here in Naples, Florida. And I said, dude, I ran into him one day and I go, I need you. He's like, oh, bro, what's up? What do you need? I'm like, no, I need it all. He's like, well, you're already on my TRT. I go, no, I need new Viva. I need it. I need your help, dude. I'm struggling and I'm slowly dying inside. And every week I go there. I do my weigh in. They tell me, here's a list of foods you can eat this week. Here's the timing of them. Here's what you do. And so I'm a robot now. So for me, yeah, people get lost in the shuffle and say, okay, well, I gained 2 pounds, because where's that support? Right? If the support's not there, like if I go up 2 pounds, my guy would go, well, we added rice back. So you're a little more hydrated, or you're lifting heavier now. So let's do another body composition exam, right? So like you're right though, man. There's a lot of different factors. That one person that gained 2 pounds from last week could be more hydrated, and now they're off the rails and they're comparing themselves because I'm not losing weight as fast as everybody else. I'm not good enough. I am not worthy. Where's the pizza?
Right.
That's it.
For sure. So
And
that point, yeah. Oh, I trust me, I've done it. Like I was up when I graduated high school, I was 270. And then in college, I got down to 185 was the lowest I got, which was a little freakishly thin. But for me,
Like
for
you're
my
tall too,
my
right?
body type, yeah.
Yeah.
And I looked sick at that point. So right now I'm like 210. I like to be around 200, but 210 I'm okay with as well, because I'm a healthy 210. And so numbers are numbers. It's all about healthy. And that's where I'm a firm believer of also is going to the experts and breaking everything down to understand, oh, okay, I am healthy at 210 and I'm right where I was at when I was 195 because I've added muscle. So there's a lot of context to it. So this point is comparison steals joy and peace. And the Bible verse is Galatians 6:4. Each one should test their own actions. Then they can take pride in themselves alone without comparing themselves to someone else. So it fits absolutely perfect to everything we just talked about, is test your own actions. And the only way you can test your own action is to have a plan, to understand. And then you start comparing your actions to your plan. And then if you're not following that, then step it up.
Yeah, brother, you forget about everybody else when you're executing a strategy.
Yeah. And nobody
Right?
else matters.
It doesn't matter. It's not because you're going about life and not worried about other people and not caring. It's the fact that you're so engrossed on what's in front of you, what you know you need to do, that you just knock it off every single step, right? So for me, I always go, like right now, the thing that I always tell myself right now is do the next right thing. Whatever that is, right? And I'll tell you, the only time I've had an issue, not that I've, cheated or anything, but the first week my family had pizza, and that was emotionally hard for me.
Yeah.
But hey, I'm happy to report I do get to have that day, right, on Christmas where I get to eat, right? He's like, go ahead and refuel your body, but then get right back on it the next day.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
I get to have a treat meal, baby. A treat meal.
And to me is now, I mean, your face completely changed when you talked about not getting to have pizza that day because of the mental strength that you were proud of yourself for sticking to it. I used to fast every Wednesday for a month. I challenge anybody to do that. I think it's a healthy test of discipline. And we would go eat we'd go out to eat. And then I would go with my family because, my challenges, this was my plan. It wasn't like my wife didn't sign up to fast. My
Yeah.
kids
Yeah.
definitely didn't sign up to fast. So I didn't make a big deal about it. I was just like, I'm fasting today, so I'm not eating dinner. So wherever we want to go, let's go. And it's not easy when you're sitting in front of them eating burgers and fries, because I love French
Oh,
fries.
come on, man. Yeah.
But it was just, then I got done. I was like, holy smokes, look at that. I went through it. I got through it, and I'm proud of myself.
But dude, like, that's the thing, right? And it's funny because like there's been multiple times where I've said, well, where can you guys, don't worry about me. I can slug 6 ounces of chicken or a protein shake before we get up out of here, babe. Like, don't worry about me.
Yeah.
And she goes, well, I don't want to eat in front of you. I said, well, you guys can eat in front of me because it's not about the food. It's about that we're all together.
Right.
Right. And so I just think that's also important. But that moment when you go out there and you were fasting on those Wednesdays, you wake up the next day, like I did the night that I passed up pizza, and I passed it up twice since then and didn't give a crap. Right. Then you wake up and you're like, all right, now you're even more all in on yourself because you anteed up even more.
Yeah.
You're stacking your chips, on your side. And you just know, you're like, okay, I'm not even worried about the choices I'm going to make. I'm going to do the right thing.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. So the second point to why comparison is dangerous is comparison fosters envy and discontent. And you talked about that, is that affects the heart. Envy is coming from the heart. And that's a place of insecurity. Trust me, I'm an expert on this. It's insecurity. It's not feeling good enough. It's just a lot of self-work that needs to happen to improve your self-worth. And so the Bible verse, I love this one. It's Proverbs 14:30. A heart at peace gives life to the body, but envy rots the bones. And envy disconnects us from God's blessings in our own lives, which goes back to the point you said at the very beginning of this segment of you talking about, as it robs you from gratitude.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. I mean, it literally, and what happens then? When you're not grateful for anything, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, and that is wrong. And the next moment you look around in the living room and your whole family's upstairs because they don't want to be around you.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. There's no joy in your life at that point.
No. So yeah, man.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Find joy in the little things. All right. So the next one, this one I really like because it goes in concert with what we were just talking about, is identity. I feel like comparison is a lack of personal identity. So the key point that I wanted to discuss is we're uniquely created by God. So talk to the audience about the importance of that self-worth, that self-identity, and how you were able to develop that. Because I know you've shared your story about, going to LSU and then being robbed from your identity when things didn't go your way and you didn't make it into Major League Baseball. So help us understand how you manage that.
Well, I mean, very poorly. I mean, let's be honest, I was womanizing, I was drinking. I thought that money was the root of everything that would make me happy, because there was like this massive void inside of me that I was trying to fill constantly with shenanigans, right? Because if I could go and have any girl I wanted, make a lot of money, well, then you can't tell me I'm not good enough, because look at all I got, right? So that's how I dealt with it for a very long time. And then I realized I'm burning relationships and I'm ultimately not happy and I'm all alone. How I build my identity now is like, what's my mission? First of all, I'm not a podcast host. I'm a dad. Okay. I'm a husband, right? And I'm Shawn. So whatever I was in the past, whether I was a baseball player, that's something that I did for a very short period of time in my life. Heck, I think I've outlived the amount of time that I actually played. Right. So it's something that I don't like to revisit too much. And I talk to my production team all about, hey, let's use more of your LSU stuff. I'm like, we can use some, but that's not me.
Yeah.
It's who I was. It's what I did. And so how you find out who you are is by just digging down deep and like, what's important to you, right? What are the things that you're trying to accomplish? For me, my goals, what I'm going for right here. So I'm trying to build this identity of the gentleman that would achieve that. It's not the end game that makes you who you are. It's, what are you becoming? Who are you becoming in the journey of that? And for me, I want to be a patient, loving, compassionate, disciplined man.
Yeah. And that's it's so powerful because that's an identity. That's not chasing something, that's removing envy because those
Mm-hmm.
things are unique to you. And the Bible verse is Ephesians 2:10, for we are God's handiwork, created in Christ Jesus to do good works which God prepared in advance for us to do. And
Mm.
it's that mission, it's that purpose, it's moving in. God doesn't compare Shawn to Jeff.
Mm-mm.
He created Shawn and he created Jeff, and we're both uniquely designed to do things that he's planned for us to do. And it's up to us to step into that and not say, I wish I was like Shawn.
Mm-hmm.
It, we have to celebrate our own gifts and our own purpose. And that's understanding your why. And I don't know, you've talked about it on your show and other people is looking for that purpose. And your purpose isn't always your profession either. I heard that on an Ed Milet show. And that's powerful because so many people like, well, I just want to live and do my purpose. Well, that may not be your job, but it doesn't keep you from fulfilling your purpose and serving others and serving
Mm-hmm.
your family, because you and I both agree that our families are our first mission field. That's the first line of defense for us.
Yeah.
And the most important thing, because if we fail there, we fail everywhere, because and if we succeed there, then everything else is just gravy after that.
I feel it, man. That's true. It's true.
So the next point is God's plans for us are good and individual, just like what we just talked about. And that Bible verse is Jeremiah 29:11. Most of you know, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future.
I love these. And here's the thing, Jeff, we're one of one. Why am I going to waste my time comparing myself to you or anybody else? Right. And again, I say that now because that's the mindset I'm in, but I might need you to check me if I go down that road again. Right. But the bottom line is I can't do what you can do. I literally can't. You're a limited edition and you can't do what I do my way. Right. We can all do it. But it has to be proprietary of who we are. What is our beingness? Like what are our gifts? Our speech pattern is different, right? Our tone is different. Our flow is different. Doesn't make one better than the other. But we're all searching to be the best self. Period.
Yep. Use yourself, your yesterday, to compare yourself to today, and just keep moving forward. Keep being determined to do the most that you can possibly do to continue to move forward. So I'll give an example. And again, this is just a reminder for everybody that's listening is 2025 needs to be your year of smashing comparison and just unhealthy comparison. So, one of the things that I'll share, and I know we talked a little bit yesterday, but, I'll see the success that you've had with your podcast, and you just hit 1 million downloads. So congratulations. That's a huge accomplishment.
Big year.
I'm far from 1 million downloads. However, I see where you're at and what you're doing. And I always used to, it would have been an unhealthy comparison. I would see Shawn and like, oh, I can't believe that he hit 1 million. I don't know how he hit 1 million, and have all these unhealthy things that would then ruin my day.
Yeah.
And, I heard a quote, and I'm going to butcher it because I don't have it specific, because I didn't know I was going to talk about this particular one. But Dallas Willard talked about, if you really want to, love your brother, it's wish that they do their best against you. Now, what I mean by that is he was talking about in the field of competition is you want your enemy to be at the top of their game. And that makes you at the top of your game. Yeah. And so seeing you succeed doesn't make me jealous. It gives me hope. It gives me promise. It gives me an idea of I have somebody that I can reach out to and find out what did they do. Because you're further ahead in the podcast game than I am. You started before me, so you've learned things that I'm not there yet. And so I encourage everyone, and I give this story, one, because I wanted to celebrate you and what you've achieved, and then give people a real world example of, when I first see it, my heart kind of goes a little bit, but then I understand how to control it and how to move that into a positive way to say, when you see someone succeed, you can want to be where they're at, but turn it around and say, and ask them, how did they get where they're at? How did they accomplish what they've been able to accomplish? And so those little word choices will change everything, because now, like Shawn had said earlier, is you're now thinking of, okay, what plan can I put in place based on the things that he's done to be successful? And am I willing to do it? If I'm not willing to put the work in that you've done to hit 1 million downloads, then I can't be complaining or even be envious of you hitting 1 million downloads if I'm not willing to put forth the work.
No, I mean, and first of all, thank you. I mean, it means a lot. It was a wild year, man. And we spoke yesterday on the phone. Like, when I first started, it was crickets, man. It was crickets, 15 listens, 20 listens, silence on social media. Like, just people liked me, but they didn't want to give me their time. Right. And so I say I don't know what happened, but what I think happened is I got really intentional, and I said, okay, I'm going to go after this. No matter what it takes, I'm really going to double down on this thing, and I'm going to take risks. And I took some massive risks. And, it's crazy because as an amazing of a year as it's been, the last month has been even better. Like, we hit 1 million in November, and we're knocking on 1.2 right now. And this week has been 60,000 alone in 7 days. And I say that with a certainty of, yes, you can. Yes, you can. And hell, I want to take you with me, right? Because that's what we do. Rising ships. We take our boys, we take our girls, we take our friends. Because if I know something works, and I'm having results of it, and I'm watching you sit there and not living it like you want to, then I'm not a friend, dude. And that is not what I'm looking for. That is not what I'm looking for. So, we're going to have more conversations. I can help you. I know I can get you there, but the bottom line is, you've built an amazing foundation. The one thing that I want to say to edify you is, you're an amazing interviewer. You have a great show. You speak well. You ask great questions. You relate to the audience. You've been on my show. I'd have you again. Hell, you need to come down to Naples, and let's get you in person. I mean, you're only in Orlando, bro. So let's set it up in February. Done.
Yeah.
Get down here. Right. So fill up that gas tank and come on. And it's just, you're going to get there. You're going to get there. Right. And, but the thing that I look at, and for people listening, is when you look at, okay, where am I, and where am I compared to where I was, not where anyone else is, where I was. Have I taken the risks? Have I anteed up a little bit more? Have I changed some things? Have I made it more immersive? Right? Because I think that's what we're doing here, is we're trying to make this the most immersive experience possible. Right. And that's where I think that I've started winning a little bit. And I'll tell you, dude, it would not have happened if I didn't bring my partner, Pat Sickens, in, because he breathed that believability in me in March of like, dude, you're going to monetize this, and you're going to make a lot of money doing it, because you can, and you are that guy. And he's helped me. He's helped me get out of my own way. So, dude, I would challenge you to think, like, maybe you just don't have that person telling you to get out of your own way right now.
Oh, maybe 100%.
And hey, I'm your Huckleberry, dog.
Yeah.
I'm your Huckleberry.
And what's so interesting that you even bring any of that up is this next part is overcoming the comparison trap. And we've talked several things you talked about before. Cultivate gratitude. So the Bible verse that I have with that is 1 Thessalonians 5:18. give thanks in all circumstances, for this is God's will for you in Christ Jesus. So give thanks. Be thankful that I'm at 20. Be thankful that, I have somebody like Shawn who's at 1 million, and understand that it's all there for a purpose. It's all there for the growth. And there's been a quote, I think Busta Rhymes said it, a few other people, so it's not unique to one person, and Hermosi was the last one that I heard say, is so many people want the view without the climb. You can't have one without the other. It comes with
appreciate
it.
The climb.
No. And then another one that I heard just yesterday, I've gotten into, I know you're a Brian Cain guy, but I call the Success Hotline. Try to do it every day. And yesterday was those who are highly successful are really good at failure. And like you said about risk, it's you have to fail and keep moving forward. There was a great documentary about Walt Disney that with his Imagineers, he challenged them. If they weren't failing more than 50% of the time, he didn't see them as trying.
Yeah.
He's like, you're not pushing the limits. You're not pushing the envelope if you're trying to play it safe. And so you're never going to come up with that big idea because you're playing it safe.
It's funny, man. You brought up the, God, what did you say? You said, the failure.
Successful people are good at failure.
I'm going to tell you right now, I'm an expert at failing. Like, dude, I cannot, and I'm going to say this to you, and I want the audience to really tune in on this. There's been multiple tears shed behind closed doors by me. Not feeling seen, feeling unworthy. Is this ever going to happen? What did I do leaving corporate America? I'm going to lose everything. Boo-hoo. I'm crying, and then I realize this is the gift. This is the pressure that I'm supposed to feel. This is it. This is the moment. Like if I pivot in another direction right now, I'm stopping from the proverbial, 3 feet from gold. I'm not going to do that. We're going to keep moving. We're going to keep moving. And every day, it's just like, dude, we're going to West Coast offense this dang thing, man. We're going to do a screen pass. We're going to run up the gut. We're going to get a 15-yard out, right? And eventually we're going to get to that goal line and push it through. It may take a little bit longer. It may be a 9-minute, 10-minute drive. But you know what? I'd rather breach that goal line than not.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. Well, and just that I'm 3 years into this not being in the corporate world, and trust me,
scary,
I'm
dude.
surprised I don't have an ulcer the size of my head and my stomach, because you manufacture and you imagine the worst, and we haven't lost the house. We haven't, we really haven't even impacted our overall lifestyle as much as I thought we would have.
Yeah.
You sit there and you think, well, we're going to have holes in our shoes and wearing tattered clothes, and we're not. And God's provided, and he's been wonderful. And I've become a way better man in the last 3 years than I was before. And the 3 years that I haven't had a full-time job, quote unquote, is I've spent more time with my wife and kids than I've ever have or ever imagined at 51 years old. So I started all this at 48. And so to know that I've completely pivoted, when most people think that this is when you start taking your foot off the gas and you set cruise control, I've jeopardized the key earning years of the last part before quote unquote retirement hits. But I know we've talked about this, is that I've got another 50 years in me. So I'm going to use the wisdom I've developed and learned over the last 51 and apply those to the next one. So to me, it's like, watch out. I just have to get, like you said earlier, out of my own way.
Well, I mean, and again, dude, like those are great points, and no one gets out of their own way on their own, dude. I mean, I'm sorry. It doesn't happen, dude. It doesn't happen. It's just one of those things. It's the support. It's the, if you're off on an island and you're doing it all by yourself, you can accomplish some things. You truly can, man. You can have a great show. You can have great interviews, but you can't fully excel unless you got more people on that boat rowing with you.
Oh, for sure.
And that gets you to get out of that mindset of comparison, dude, because you're constantly collaborating. You're having conversations of, hey, what do you think is going to work best? Hey, man, here's what I was thinking. hey, how do you like this? I'm like, I don't like that. I don't like that. Here's why. And the one thing that I've learned to do, and this was hard, and my partner has challenged me with this, and this is when I started learning that, dude, I got to drop the ego a little bit. Like I'll do something, think it's great. He's like, I hate that. I'm like, whoa, like that's little, it's a little quick, but here's the thing, he's doing it out of love, because he knows what's best for me. He's an
Yep.
expert at this. He's an expert at brand strategy, right? So it's like those moments are the valuable moments, right? Because now we're open to the feedback, and then you collab and you forget all about the BS, man.
Yeah. And I like that you use the word collaboration because we're designed to do that in life. Isolation is the most dangerous thing that you could ever do. That's why it's considered the worst of the worst punishment in prison.
I was
Is
just
when you
thinking
go
the
into
same thing.
when you go to solitary confinement,
Yeah.
that's like the worst of the worst, and that's why I think the Geneva Convention said that you can't do it. Like all these things
Yeah.
have occurred where it's terribly dangerous
Yeah.
to do
Yeah.
that. So collaboration is great. So one of the other practical steps that I like to do is celebrate others' successes.
Mm-hmm.
So that Bible verse is Romans 12:15. Rejoice with those who rejoice and mourn with those who mourn. So exactly what you shared is collaboration. And a practical thing that I learned from, I had a guest on, Jim Johnson, and he has a great story, basketball coach. But one of the things that he and some of his friends challenged one another to do is to send video thank you messages to one another and to other people. Like if you think of a name, don't just shoot a text, shoot a quick little 30-second video and say, you know what? I just want to tell you how much I appreciate you today.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never had one person not say, holy smokes, did I need that today?
Yeah.
And if you are looking at giving gratitude outside and cheering for other people, you can't be miserable when you're cheering for other people. And you'll
Damn.
find yourself in a much better headspace. What's your thought about that?
I love it, dude. It reminds me of my buddy that just passed away, Jackson Tippett. You know, he was always rooting for somebody else, wanting his circle, wanting his people to win. When you get into that, I know it's kind of like woo woo, but when you get into that frequency, things open up, man. Because you know what, people start cheering for you. When you're constantly cheering for everybody else, it's just like here's a great analogy. Everybody complains about the algorithm of Instagram. I get no engagement. I'm not getting any likes. I'm not getting any comments. Are you out there pounding the pavement and telling everybody else great job on their post? I spend over 2 hours a day engaging. And once I did that without any expectation, they started coming to me and engaging right after I engaged with them. And it just keeps going. That's how you win the algorithm. That's how you win the game, right? But the root of that is you have to understand, for the people who are listening, you have to understand you got to go cheer somebody else on before they hop on your train. That's just the way the world works. You have to open that up. But once you open it up, it doesn't go away. And
Yeah.
oh, by the way, go comment on someone random stuff and see what happens.
Yeah.
Here's what I've experienced recently. I'll go, in the feed and I'll see someone like, okay, I don't know this person. Like it just come up, it's suggested. I like what it says, I like the caption. They like a celebration, they did something. I would like it. I say, this is absolutely amazing. Congratulations. Keep going. 2 seconds later, follow, DM. Thank you so much for your comment. I just digging through your stuff. Can't believe I didn't know about you. I can't wait to listen to your show. Like, I didn't do it for that reason. I do it because like someone random came up and like, hey, this is really cool. This is dope. But then you turn around and you're blessed. So people listening, if you're complaining about Instagram, go utilize it. Don't sit back there and wait that people are going to come and just start cheering for you.
Yep. And that's life too. It's like if you wonder why you go unnoticed, it's because you don't say anything to anybody. You don't interact, you don't engage, you don't make eye contact. And I talk about this all the time is we're commanded to be the good neighbor. The good neighbor doesn't wait for someone to be the good neighbor to them first.
No.
We are the good neighbor. We're the ones that are checking in on our friends, making sure that that the person stranded on the side of the road is okay. And it's tough in Florida to stop and help somebody because the roads are nuts, and you're taking
especially up there where you're at, dude.
you're
I'm not
taking your
getting out on the
life
side
into
of it.
your own hands when you stop.
Dude,
I don't
you
know,
almost need a
between Fort
tank.
Myers and Naples is crazy.
Dude,
Crazy.
my wife got hit the other day coming home on 41.
It's nuts. Like
I know.
75 from Sarasota to Naples is bonkers. Absolutely
Especially when you get to
bonkers.
Northport Venice area,
Mhm.
Port Charlotte, watch out. They don't care. They're moving 5 lanes, dog.
Yeah, exactly. And then the last practical step, and Shawn had said this earlier, is focus on God's purpose for your life. And the Bible verse is Hebrews 12, 1 and 2. Let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us, fixing our eyes on Jesus. The race is our race. And I've run ultra marathons and half marathons. And if I'm comparing myself to anybody else, I'm already done, because I can only move as fast as I can move, but it doesn't diminish the accomplishments that I've made for myself. And just put things into perspective is find your purpose, find your goal. If you don't know your purpose in life, set a goal. Like Shawn set a health goal. Do something that you want to do and then focus on that, and you'll find happiness and joy in that pursuit.
Man. So good, dude. So good.
Before we wrap up, because I want to be super sensitive to your time, is when do you think that comparison is healthy?
When you're comparing yourself, when you look at, when you evaluate years, because people love to do this on New Year's, right? Is like, my goal is this in 2025. Here are my resolutions. I don't believe in resolutions. I believe in, progress, right? I believe in let's try to be good all year round. But if you look at yourself, like, you're making resolutions for a reason, because you feel you're deficient in that the year prior, right? And that's healthy. That's healthy, right? I'm looking, here, I'm comparing myself right now to when I was playing ball at LSU. I want to destroy what I looked like when I played ball at LSU. That's healthy. That keeps me disciplined. It keeps me determined and driven. If I sit there and say, I want to look like Ryan Reynolds, I'm taking the power away from myself, wanting to look like somebody else, even though he's handsome. Sorry, I'm just saying he's a handsome dude.
He is.
Right?
He's
a handsome dude. Funny as all hell as well. But like the thing is, that's not healthy, because I'm aspiring to be somebody else. So I think if you're going to compare yourself, where was I 5 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so I do that with my show all the time. I can get frustrated. I can get really frustrated. But then it's like, wait a second. Where was I a year and a half ago? I know where I was a year and a half ago. Being gaslighted by all these, top podcast hosts, like, positioning, trying to help me, but not making, saying things to make me feel less than what I really am. You got to pay me all this money so you can be this and da da da. No, shut the noise out, get to work, but then look back and be like, okay, where am I now? Where was I then?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And based on where I'm at right now, where am I going? And then you go there, and then you do that every year. So that, to me, is the only way comparison is healthy, dude.
Yeah. And then, one thing that I'll add is where I guess it's comparison in a sense, but like looking at someone like yourself, of where they're at and where you want to be, and then have it help you bring perspective of what you need to do and start doing to get there. So again, it's not out of envy. It's not out of anything other than, I want to be where he's at. Now I need to figure out, can I learn from him? What can I learn from him? Can he mentor me to get me there? So it's that same thing as then you start that comparison, that individual comparison. And I really like the fact that you talked about, like, the physical comparison is that you have to do it to yourself, because Ryan Reynolds has different genetics than I have. It's impossible for me to look like him. I can't do it, And so it's important to do that. So
for you, let me ask you a question for you, because I want to share mine as well. But like, you talked about it's okay to look at somebody and like aspire, like, okay, this is what I need to do to get there. Who's that for you?
I would say like a Brian Kane, because I
Okay, yeah.
just enjoy helping people so
Mm-hmm.
much, and I enjoy just working with people and seeing the light bulb turn on.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
if I would have to say that there's someone who has success, that's where I would like to be, is working at that level with that. Not, I love working with high schoolers, and I always want to work with high schoolers because I
Mm-hmm.
needed me. But overall, from a success perspective, that's who I would probably say right now from a coaching perspective
I love
where I'd
it.
like
I
to be.
like it. I like it. Mine's Rogan.
Oh yeah, he's awesome.
I look at him and I'm like in awe of what he does. He's just incredible. He's fearless. He just the way that he debates on his show is so calm and inviting. I just he's the GOAT, dude. And so
Yeah,
for me, when I look at him, like that's what I want. Right. So like I'm gonna cheer that dude on, and hold him in the highest regard. And just if I just come close, then I'm good, right? Like then I've built something really, really big. And so yeah, that's who that is for me, man.
yeah, and that's that pie in the sky. It's that,
Mm-hmm.
not the air castle, but it's that goal. It's, you have to have something to see. And we
Mm-hmm.
both know he started when podcasts weren't even a thing.
I
People
know.
thought he
Like
was weird when he
he
was
was a
doing this thing.
pioneer, dude.
Yeah.
Pioneer.
Because he was
Yeah.
a disruptor. He did something
Mm-hmm.
different. He pushed, he took a risk. He failed in multiple seasons, probably, of thinking about, I'm done. This is
Yeah.
garbage. Everybody's
Yeah.
making fun of me doing this. I don't know why, but he loved it. And he just
Yep.
continued to do it. And then he got paid. Got
Yes.
paid.
Handsomely.
And what's cool about it is it hasn't changed the show. It hasn't changed
Mm-mm.
anything about who he is and what he does. It's just given him more freedom and more influence
Mm-hmm.
to have with an audience.
Yep. Amazing. Amazing.
Yep,
GOAT.
he's
Period.
awesome. So in conclusion, we talked about that comparison's a trap, envy's terrible, that's unhealthy. You need to find your purpose, find your vision, and then pursue that and compare yourself to who you used to be to see the progress that you've made or lack of progress, and then where you need to go. But a call to action that I want to extend, and I'll give you an opportunity, Shawn, as well. And this goes with something Shawn had said earlier, is write down 3 things that you're grateful for. It doesn't matter how big, doesn't matter how small, just 3 things that you're thankful for this week, and post it. Share it with somebody, what you're grateful for. And if you're grateful for them, definitely share that with them as well. And just see that comparison trap start to crumble. So, what would be a call to action that you have?
The call to action I have is that thing that's eating you up inside that you need to go do, whatever it is. The audience listening, it could be, nutrition. It could be a career move. It could be having an uncomfortable conversation with a child or a spouse. But do it. Do it. And do it with love and respect and empathy. And then the next day, do those actions again. And go after what it is that you feel is your purpose or what you feel is going to fulfill you, and stop being so scared and fearful of the fact that you may fail. Because the one thing that I do know is the regret that you're feeling right now for not chasing what you love and what you want to do is killing you from the inside out. And when that happens, disease sets in. Break down the word disease. Dis-ease. If you're at dis-ease with yourself, that's when cancer comes. That's when all the ailments come. So guys listening, girls listening, please go chase after what it is that you want to do, and stop worrying about all the obstacles. You'll find a way over them if you want it badly enough.
Yep. Amen. Well, Shawn, how can people find and follow you?
Oh, well, you can go find me on Instagram at the Shawn French, SHAWN. The show's on Spotify and Apple and YouTube and all that kind of stuff. Website is thedeterminedsociety.com, but come hang out, say what's up. I like to interact with my people. I'm not stuck up.
It's true. It's great. But thank you, Shawn. I appreciate it. This was awesome. I think this is exactly what most people are going to need for 2025 to move forward, to change what their year was last year. And I'm grateful that you came on today.
Me too, man. Thank you for the opportunity, and can't wait to see how much butt you kick in 2025, buddy.
Exactly. Likewise.
Yeah, man.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Shawn French. Thanks for joining us on the Pathways to Greatness podcast. We hope that today's conversation inspired you to take steps towards your own greatness. Remember, every journey starts with a single step. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who might benefit. Actually, share it with 3 people that you might think it might benefit. Until next time, keep pursuing your passions and carving your own path to greatness. Take care.